in today's episode, we're going to talk about the concept, go where you're treated best. And when we say this, we're really thinking, where are you going to live? Where in the world are you going to live where you're treated best? It checks all of the boxes of the things that you want most in a location and in a place. And this is going to lead you to success, fulfillment, life on your terms. So let's go. All right, perfect. So there's this quote that I heard years ago by the nomad capitalist. And he said, go where you're treated best. That's where he would recommend that you and I move. So he has no idea on the big world where I should go, Tracey, live. But he just says, go where you're treated best. Like, think about what climate you would like to live in. Think about the culture of the people of where you're living, the attitudes, the beliefs, the mindset, the vibe. Go where you're treated best means business-wise, your taxes, your finances. Like even in America, like state by state, there's different cultural differences, climate differences, tax differences for businesses, schools, the way in which they're educating their kids. Go where you're treated best. Go where you are going to be happiest, most fulfilled, and be able to thrive at the highest potential for your work and in your life. And so I believe genuinely, and there's a lot of neuroscience behind this and psychology behind it, that our physical environment is so important in cueing our brains, cueing our memories, cueing us up to basically be at our best potential and to thrive, or they're going to honestly hold us back and pull us down, all the way down. Okay? Now, I have been a lot of places. I've lived a lot. I tended, when my best friends, I love them, from high school, would go and travel, they would always go to Las Vegas. And I remember getting a call when I was about 22 or 23 from my friend. She said, hey, we're going to Vegas on these dates. Like, come with us. I said, oh, actually, I'm going to Morocco and Spain. I had booked a trip to go abroad. I said, all right, next time. Literally a couple of years later, she called me. She goes, hey, we're going to Vegas. Come on and party with us at the casinos. And I literally, I'm not kidding. I said, I'm going to London and Ireland like that week. I can't go. And then I met my husband in a pub in London while I was traveling. And so my go where my treated best was always going to be international. It was always going to be around all different types of people, different food, different languages. Like obviously I'm a coach, but I coach people that have nothing like me in terms of a lot of attributes and features and backgrounds. Like I like the most different people possible. So my go where I'm treated best definitely had that energy. But when I moved to DC, I told my mom, I can't do another New England winter again. I get a little bit of seasonal affective disorder, so a bit not right in the head and depressed. I didn't want to deal with another snow blizzard. Like, I don't like being cold. I'm good. So when I moved to DC, it was an international city. I could bicycle everywhere. There was literally 2 weeks of snow out of the year. And it was hitting all these boxes of like where I would feel treated best. And for you in listening, obviously where you're going to settle your family down is quite important, but it might actually have you make a big change. So it might actually have you think seriously about uprooting yourself, which is short-term pain. It's literally short-term pain to sell your house or get rid of some of your stuff or a lot of your stuff. I would highly recommend minimalism. It's just easier. And to like really pick a location and get serious about where you're going to be able to live your best life. Okay. Because if you don't like the dark winters in London, I couldn't deal with another gray sky. I love London so much, but it was just sucked for 6 months. I thought, I am not myself. I don't feel good. Eventually when, I moved to the Caribbean, which I lived next to Venezuela and Aruba, guys, I love it here. I didn't think I would love it. So I didn't know that I would like the Caribbean. I would like the people, the flow, how people do their traffic driving. Like I love driving here. I love just the ocean every single day. I love the sunshine. I can work from my computer. Where I was treated best has nothing to do with where I'm from, which is America, right? Like, I like where I am, and there's reasons for that. So, I think about where I'm treated best is financially. So tax-wise, of course, like how my husband does day trading, and we also run the coaching and consulting business. Like, how do we need to be set up so that we're capturing most of our money and we can do with it as we please? Let me give another example. So one of the companies that I've been coaching with here on the island, they have a physical location, a brick and mortar shop. However, where they were located, it was kind of dark inside. The vibe in this building just wasn't working for them. Yes, they had loyal customers and they were doing quite well, but they as owners were feeling a bit depressed, a bit like it just wasn't working. And I said, well, what if you moved your business to where you were treated best, where you had the vibe, the location, the environment that's going to help you guys thrive? And they realized it was time to go. It was time to let go of their location and go find somewhere that was going to work for them. And this kind of change is really important. It's really important to switch up our environment, our routines, our habits, like the places that we visit, just shaking up all of that within ourselves. We can do that instantly by choosing a different environment. So think about it. There's a good quote here. A guy named Naguib Mahfouz, he said, "Home is not where you were born. Home is where all your attempts to escape cease." Home is not where you were born. Home is where all your attempts to escape cease. And I get it. It could be fearful to leave where you're from. It could be nerve-wracking. You might be the only one doing it. It could be hard. You might have kids. You might be grounded at a certain location. And there are, all these different variables, of course, that we're thinking about. However, in my experience, my kids have thrived by us making the hard choice to move to the Caribbean because their entire lifestyle has changed. They know 4 languages, so they speak English, Dutch, Papimento, and Spanish, like for free, just because they go to school. And I could just tell, like, they're such in a multicultural, diverse environment. They're little friends. Every interaction they have, I'm like, yes. It's like life school is happening for my kids because of where I'm living. As a mom and a parent, I want my kids to have all these experiences. That's a value of mine. So when I decided to go where I was treated best, I was also making really intentional choices that were going to be good for my family and my kids. I don't believe that moving in and of itself does harm to the children. It's all about your intention. Like, what's your biggest intention for your kids? Like, what's going to be guiding how you're doing things? And then you'll be able to meet those intentions and create an amazing experience for them and yourself. So think about it. Maybe you could be a digital nomad. Maybe you could just be location independent. Maybe you can work 6 months somewhere and 6 months somewhere else. Maybe you're somewhere for 9 months and then 3 months in the summer, you're somewhere else. Just kind of crack open your concept of home, where you live, your environment, and just say, wow, if I could do anything, what would be the absolute best, most epic place possible for me to live? And you know what? If you really don't like it after a year or two, you can go back to where you were. But I promise you, you can't go back. You cannot go backwards. I can't. I can't move back to any of the places that I used to live because I'm always in this forward growth momentum. So even if you're somewhere for a year or two, it's going to teach you so much that you're going to know what the next place is. Drop me a message if you want to talk to me about, just how I've moved around, my experience, visas, immigration, all that fun stuff. Happy to share as much as knowledge as I know on how to make it happen, or just hear a little bit more about you and see if I can point you in a good direction. All right. Thank you for listening to this episode. Go where you're treated best. That's how you'll have life on your terms.